Right now, presidential candidate Herman Cain will hold a formal news conference later today. He says he'll respond to the latest allegation of sexual harassment. A fourth woman who claims Cain made unwanted advances. She came forward yesterday. Sharon Bialek is the first woman to go public. She describes an incident she says happened 14 years ago. Earlier on America's Newsroom, Bialek told Martha McCallum why she finally decided to come forward.
When I saw him running for president, and I actually heard him speak, and I was sitting in the audience, the thought kept running through my mind is, oh boy, I hope this man, I hope that nobody else had to have what happened to me. And I really did. And I was going to keep mum, and I wasn't going to say a word. I just was going to keep it inside me and the other two people. And then, you know, and then when the other women came forward, which they sort of did, really didn't, and they couldn't speak or didn't want to speak, right, I had to do it.
Joining us now is Niger Innis. He is a Cain campaign advisor and national spokesman for the Congress of Racial Equality. These allegations made toward Herman Cain, what is the campaign's response to them?
Well, I'm not speaking for the campaign. I'm a friend of Herman Cain. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm a volunteer advisor to the campaign. But I'm not speaking on behalf of the campaign. I am speaking on behalf of the Congress of Racial Equality, and I'm very disturbed by what I see as nothing more than an attempted character assassination using one of the more vicious charges and stereotypes, which I call the Mandingo stereotype, and that being the overly sexed, black-skinned black man that has been used unfairly for a couple of centuries in our country. And I think what these character assassins, these attempted character assassins, don't realize is they underestimate the decency of the American people, and they underestimate the ability of the American people to read past this BS.
Well, but
exactly what I think it is.
About an hour ago, we had Karl Rove on our air, who says he believes that these allegations are going to take a serious toll unless the bloodletting is staunched right away.
I would caution, Carl, I would caution members of the conservative elite that sexual harassment today is being used as a powerful political weapon the same way that the race card today is used as a powerful political weapon. And I would caution these elites in the conservative media as well as the liberal media, do you really think it's just going to end this political tool is just going to end with Herman Cain? I caution them to be careful about what they say.
Your candidate, Herman Cain, and by the way, we were told that you are speaking on behalf of the campaign, so I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I can't. I can't because I'm not paid by the campaign.
Right.
Herman Cain is my friend,
but
and I'm a volunteer
friend.
advisor, but I'm speaking on behalf of CORE, John.
All right. The campaign, it is quite clear that Herman Cain didn't exactly have the story straight the first time he addressed the first couple of accusations that came out revolving around his time at the NRA. He changed his story. What do you think about the job that he did in addressing to the first round of accusations?
I will quote Mark Block, who said that they could have done a better job coming out of the gate and dealing with those charges. I think there's no question that some mistakes were made in handling of it, but that does not take away from the lack of credibility that Ms. Bialek has in her presentation, where she giggled and smiled several times during the presentation.
Yep.
It doesn't lack the it doesn't take away from her lack of a credible story.
Why did it take her 14 years to come forward with these charges?
That's exactly the kinds of questions that I would hope that the media would start demanding. I think they need to start looking at the fact that she's had a couple of bankruptcies, that she's been unemployed for several years. I'm not saying that undermines her credibility, but it might go to what her financial motives may be. She has not said that she will not take a dollar for coming out here. And she looks at a case like Anita Hill, who has become the patron saint of sexual harassment and has gotten quite wealthy from being the patron saint for sexual harassment, essentially doing the same type of last-minute, 12th-hour character assassination that Ms. Bialek is doing here.
You think your friend Herman Cain is the victim here of these attacks simply because he is a public figure, because he's running for president?
I think there's no question that he is a victim of these unfair, unfounded, anonymous, in many cases, attacks. And by the way, I don't think it's just going to stop here. I think, you know, it's now like an episode of Dancing with the Stars or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You now have folk that are just going to come out of the woodwork to attack him, to try to get their 15 minutes of fame and maybe get $15 of fortune along with the 15 minutes of fame. And I think he is a victim, and I would caution those within the conservative movement that are discarding Herman Cain. Do you really believe that this new political weapon or revived political weapon of sexual harassment is just going to end with Herman Cain?
Is that sounds almost like a threat directed at conservatives, is it?
It is a threat. Absolutely. It's a threat, and more than a threat.
Is it a threat from you?
No, it's not a threat. No. It's not a threat for me. I don't play those games. But what I am saying is it is a warning for those who would disregard Herman Cain, from those who would just throw him to the wolves. It's not going to end there. You are empowering these people that, just like you have a race industry, a race card industry, you now have a sexual harassment industry. And what is tragic about this, of course, is that there are truly victims, female victims, of sexual harassment. But it's going to come a point where the American people are going to say, this is like the boy who cried wolf.
Niger Innis is a friend of Herman Cain's. Niger, thank you.
Thank you, John.